Thank you very much. Okay. Next, thank you very much. Next is Graham, who is going to talk about the same item 13. Thank you. Welcome, Graham.
Thank you. Thank you for this chance to comment following up the last two deputations. I'm speaking on behalf of 350 Ōtautahi and our approximately 750 subscribers. We thank the Council for working hard to reduce greenhouse gas emissions directly related to its own activities. Beyond the in-house inventory, however, we all know, I think, that there is still a desperately urgent need to decarbonise the economy. So we fully support the three requests made by Climate Liberation Aotearoa in their deputation. It is abundantly clear that rapid decarbonisation will be better for the global economy, whereas failure to decarbonise will be much, much worse. We ask that where the Christchurch City Council has any influence on commercial activity, it should direct support towards low emissions activities and initiatives that have a viable medium-term future. With that in mind, I'd like to focus on the tourism industry and specifically on aviation. Firstly, its greenhouse gas footprint, and secondly, its future viability. We've just heard from peers that various solutions have been offered for the damage caused to the climate by the carbon footprint of aviation. These solutions include biofuels, hydrogen, carbon capture, and offsetting via reforestation. Those initiatives should be encouraged, but they simply will not be available at scale in the short time frame we have left. Responsible planning means responsible planning means planning for the lifetime of today's children. Compared to many other nations, we here are relatively well placed to cope with future climate disruption. The same cannot be said for many of our major trading partners. I refer here to a bunch of recent headlines, firstly about the economic impact of climate disruption on Asia, and particularly on China. Unsurvivable heat waves striking the heart of China by the end of the century. That's our kids will still be around when that happens. And similar impacts on the economy of Australia and the UK. These severe outcomes could be minimised if governments across the globe sign up for rapid decarbonisation. But we know that greenhouse gases are still rising, so it doesn't seem prudent to bank on government action. This brings me to the future viability of tourism. We're currently experiencing a post-COVID tourism recovery, but given the escalating impact of climate disruption that I've just highlighted on the economies of our trading partners, the medium-term prospects for international tourism don't look particularly promising. With regard to the nations that currently provide much of our inbound tourist traffic, it seems highly likely that the middle classes in those nations will increasingly find themselves unable to afford international travel. We've already just heard about, in other contexts, about double-digit rate rises. There's a connection. If I was asked to make a wild guess, I would say that tourism may well peak in the next 3 to 5 years and then slowly start to tail off. We therefore ask that the City Council regards climate-damaging industries, such as tourism, not just as unethical, but as unwise investments. Instead, we ask that where possible you support low-emissions initiatives that have a viable future, as well as enhancing our ability to function independently of the global economy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Councillor Kewen, please.
Thank you. Just my kids sitting up all night gaming and watching YouTube, is that considered luxury emissions as well?
Yes.
Because that's set to double by the year 2030,
Yeah.
and so it'll be well ahead of aviation. And yet aviation carries other things like medicines and people and so on and so forth.
Good question. I would choose.
Because everyone goes after aviation, which it's easy, spot, you can see the aeroplanes all the time. Whereas all the others, why are we not going after everything?
I think we should go after everything, and I think I would refer back to an Oxfam report, or a report commissioned by Oxfam a couple of years ago, that said that if we want our kids to inherit a viable future, or viable future climate, we need to get our annual per capita, per human, greenhouse gas emissions under about 2.3 tonnes of carbon dioxide equivalent. The New Zealand average, not including agricultural emissions, is currently around 7.7 tonnes. So we need to pull every lever that we've got our hands on. I would not want to criticise essential travel, particularly where it involves things like transporting medicines and whatever. I'm like after the low-hanging fruit. Tourism is not an essential activity. We've already heard about the need for a just transition. We've already heard about the need to protect jobs. No one's suggesting that we just fire everyone that's working in tourism. That would be grossly unjust. What I'm suggesting is we need as rapid a transition as is reasonably possible, and we need to put our investment into industries that are less damaging to the environment. And yes, mucking around on online gaming is damaging. So are a lot of other activities. But the low-hanging fruit includes things like flying off to Bali or to the UK for a holiday. Every one of my family is in the Northern Hemisphere. I will never see them again. I've pledged not to fly. And that hurts. That hurts. But that's how it is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're